गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन हरे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे जय दामोदरा जय दामोदरा जय दामोदरा जय दामोदरा जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्रीमद His Divine Grace श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। ISKCON संस्थापकाचार्य सेवियर द होल वर्ल्ड जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayed Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is entitled Questions by Vidura. Text number 34. Api Svet Aste Bhagavan Sukham Vaha Api Sveddaste Bhagavan Sukham Vo Yaha Satvatam Kamadugho Aniruddhaha Yasatvatam Kamadugho Niruddhaha Yam Amananti Sma Hi Shabdayonim Yam Amananti Sma Hi Shabdayonim Manomayam Sattva Turiya Tattvam Manomayam Sattva Turiya Tattvam Apisvedaste Bhagavan Sukham Vo Yasatvatam Kamadugho Niruddhaha Yamamananti Sma Hi Shabdayonim Manomayam Sattva Turiya Tattvam Apisvidaste Bhagavan Sukham Vo Yasatvatam Kamadugho Niruddhaha Yamamananti Sma Hi Shabdayonim Manomayam Sattva Turiya Tattvam Apisvidaste Bhagavan Sukham Vo Yasatvatam Kamadugho Niruddhaha Yamamananti Sma Hi Shabdayonim Manomayam Sattva Turiya Tattvam Apisvidaste Bhagavan Sukham Vo Yasatvatam Atmanuyo Hidanuddhaha Yamamananti Sma Hi Shabdayonim Manomayam Sattva Turiya Tattvam Api, as also Svet, whether Aste, does he, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Sukham, all happiness, Vaha, of you, Yaha, one who, Satvatam, of the devotees, Kamadugha, source of all desires, Aniruddhaha, the plenary expansion Aniruddha, Yam, whom, Amananti, accept, Sma, from your, he, certainly, Shabdayonim, the cause of the Rig Veda, Manahmayam, creator of the mind. Sattva, transcendental. Turiya, the fourth expansion. Tattvam, principle. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. May I inquire whether Aniruddha is doing well? He is the fulfiller of all the desires of the pure devotees and has been considered from yore to be the cause of the Rig Veda, the creator of the mind, and the fourth plenary expansion of Vishnu. Please repeat this translation after me. May I inquire whether Aniruddha is doing well? He is the fulfiller of the pure devotees and has been considered from yore to be the cause of the Rig Veda, the creator of the mind, and the fourth plenary expansion of Vishnu. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Adi Chaturbhuja, the original expansions from Baladev are Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. All of them are Vishnu Tattvas or non-different personalities of Godhead. In the incarnation of Sri Rama, all these different expansions appeared for particular pastimes. Lord Rama is the original Vasudeva, and his brothers were Sankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. Aniruddha is also the cause of Mahavishnu, from whose breathing the Rig Veda appeared. All this is nicely explained in the Markandeya Purana. In the incarnation of Lord Krishna, Aniruddha appeared as the son of the Lord. Lord Krishna in Dwaraka is the Vasudeva expansion of the original group. The original Lord Krishna never leaves Goloka Vrindavana. All the plenary expansions are one and the same Vishnu Tattva, and there is no difference in their potency. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Jena Tasmai Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Sate Deve Nikatani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Srivasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So as the chapter title indicates, questions by Vidura. Vidura is on pilgrimage. He left Hastinapura, the palace, after he was apparently insulted by Duryodhana. Of course, Vidura is a pure devotee and he is unaffected by insult, praise, etc. But he made it an excuse to leave the palace and go away on pilgrimage when Duryodhana insulted him. So while on pilgrimage, he was traveling to those holy places where the Supreme Lord in his various incarnations appeared, performed pastimes, and also, apart from visiting the temples, the holy places where the Lord's pastimes were actually, pastimes happened, also to associate with the saintly persons who reside in such holy places and actually are completely engaged 100% in devotional service of the Lord in various ways. So when he came to one particular holy place, Vidura met Uddhava. He knew Uddhava is a cousin of Lord Krishna in Dwaraka. And therefore, as soon as he met Uddhava, he began to inquire about Krishna and Krishna's family members and their well-being in Dwaraka. So he is making this inquiry in this verse. May I inquire whether Aniruddha is doing well? Now, who is Aniruddha? Aniruddha is clarified by Vidura himself. Which Aniruddha is inquiring about? Because these names may refer to different persons having the same name. So specifically he is qualifying about which Aniruddha is asking about. Bhagavan's is reference to the personality of Godhead. So he's asking about Aniruddha, who is the personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. And therefore, Prabhupada in the translation, he says, may I inquire whether Aniruddha is doing well? And which Aniruddha? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, who is the fulfiller of the desires of the pure devotees. Kamadugha. Satvatam Kamadugha. Satvatam means devotees. And Kamadugha means the fulfiller of the desires of the pure devotees. Now the Supreme Lord is actually the fulfiller of the desires of everybody. But particularly, he fulfills the desires of his pure devotees personally, and for the fulfillment of the desires of the others who are not devotees. He does it through his agency of Maya, Mahamaya. But in any case, in either case, whether devotee or non-devotee, it is he only who fulfills the desires of everyone. But the fulfillment of the desires of the non-devotees is under the laws of the material nature. So if we who are conditioned, we are conditioned souls, so we have got the ability to desire. But if we desire something which is against the laws of karma, some sinful desires, then fulfillment of the sinful desires will result in sinful reactions. And we have to suffer on account of sinful reactions. Whereas fulfillment of the desires which are in accordance with the scriptures, the pious desires, punya papa. So pious desires, fulfillment leads to enjoyment. That is, if the desires, whether pious or impious, are in connection with one's own personal sense satisfaction, sense gratification. So in the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly explained that there are three kinds of activities or three kinds of desires a person can have. Not only the pious and sinful activities of which most people know, punya and papa. Technically in the 4th chapter it's called karma and vikarma in terms of activities. Pious activities and sinful activities. But both of these, pious and impious activities, meant for our own personal sense satisfaction. They are called material activities. They are called material desires. Because they result in bondage, material bondage. If we want to enjoy materially, or we have to suffer materially, it necessitates that we have to have a material body. Material body means bondage in this material world. As spirit soul, we are actually free to actually travel, be free from the material bondage. We don't understand that, of course, the primary ignorance is we are not this body, but we are spirit soul. This ignorance prevails. We don't know. We think we are the body. But even if we understand we are spirit soul, this body is imprisoning us in this material world. That's another realization we should have. To understand I am not the body is not sufficient. To also understand this body is actually imposing so many limitations on me as the spirit soul. That as spirit soul, we are actually full of knowledge. We are actually completely spiritual beings with nothing to do with matter or material body or material existence. We got another existence, spiritual existence. So this body is actually not only not myself, but also it is the cause of all my suffering. When body, we say body, we mean two kinds of bodies, the gross body and the subtle body. The gross body, all of us know what it is. There is a subtle body, which is mind intelligence consisting of not three parts, but three different aspects of the subtle body. The mind, the intelligence, and the false ego, ahankara. So all the three and this gross body, the four, all the four, are cause of all my suffering. As spirit soul, there is no question of suffering. There is no question of any misery. There is no question of any limitation. We see everywhere around us so many different people, different creatures. They have their own abilities, but they also have their own limitations based on the body and the mind, the intelligence and the false ego. Based on that, they have different abilities and different limitations. But as spirit soul, none of these limitations apply. None of those limitations apply. So, in one particular purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, describing who is Lord Nityananda, the glories of Nityananda Balaram. Nityananda is actually Balaram. So, the glories of Balaram, while describing that, the author, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is describing Balaram as the first expansion of Krishna, who is the original personality of Godhead. And in that purport where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is quoting a verse from the Brahma Samhita, Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu suravira vipalayantam lakshmi sahasra shata sambrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajan. Prabhupada writes a very elaborate purport, probably one of the biggest purports in the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita, if not the biggest among the big purports. It runs into 10 pages. So what is Srila Prabhupada explaining in the 10 pages of the purport? He is describing that this verse from the Brahma Samhita quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to tell us that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. He describes what is this abode of Krishna like. Chintamani Dhama. It's the spiritual abode of the completely spiritual personality, original personality of Krishna, also called Goloka Vrindavan. So there he elaborately describes that we are spirit soul and we belong to that particular abode of Krishna, Chintamani Dhama. And while describing that, Prabhupada is comparing our life here in the material world, in ignorance, whatever life we are leading, how it is in so many different ways it is inferior to the wonderful spiritual life in association with Krishna in the spiritual world. So there he explains how, as spirit soul, free from material bondage, in association with Krishna, how we can enjoy a life full of transcendental bliss. So we should particularly study Srila Prabhupada's books and understand and get convinced that all of us are actually entitled to that particular type of living, it should actually enthuse us, inspire us to actually seriously consider practicing bhakti for qualifying ourselves to become free from this material existence, material bondage. And simply by practicing devotional service, beginning with this chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And also following some simple principles of Bhakti Yoga, so that our entire life becomes, our lifestyle becomes being simply engaged in this endeavor to get out of this material bondage and reinstate ourselves in our original spiritual position, in our relationship with Krishna, in Krishna's personal spiritual kingdom. So there Prabhupada explains very, very nicely. So therefore we should read, we should hear, and to develop interest in the subject matter. The technique of Bhakti Yoga is very unique. Why Bhakti Yoga is superior to other yoga forms? Because Bhakti Yoga brings us directly in contact with Krishna, who is the all-attractive personality of Godhead, full of all opulences. And the absolute truth as Krishna, as the personality of Godhead Krishna, is the topmost realization of the absolute truth, because Krishna as a person, as the person, is supremely attractive. Krishna attracts everybody actually. Krishna has so many transcendental qualities that he attracts everyone. In saying he attracts everyone, it means that each one of us is actually a individual person with our own individuality in terms of our constitution, in terms of our desires, in terms of our particular relationship with Krishna, in terms of what gives each one of us the particular type of pleasure and satisfaction that we are specifically seeking. It's just like even in a conditioned life. I can give an example. Now, each one of us have a certain set of likes when it comes to eating different food stuff. Now, however nice something may be prepared or something nice which may be available, we have our personal preferences. Now, where is this personal preference coming from? It is coming from each person's individuality. So, in that respect, even as spirit soul free from material bondage, we have our individuality, we have our particular individual relationship with Krishna, and in that individual relationship there is a specific type of service we render to Krishna out of love. And Krishna reciprocates in such a way that our particular desire for pleasure and satisfaction is satisfied by Krishna completely. And it is only Krishna who can satisfy our desire for specific individual type of pleasure and satisfaction. This Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Krishna is describing his pure devotees in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So this is among the most confidential topics of the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, many things are there. Everything is there in summary form about spirituality, about God, about ourselves, about this world. Everything is there. But it is very, very concise. It's elaborately explained in the Bhagavatam. Now, in this particular verse, Krishna is describing his pure devotees. And he says that his pure devotees, what is their characteristic? Macchitta, they are always engaged in thinking of Krishna. And the best examples are the devotees of Krishna who descended with him from the spiritual world when he personally appeared on this planet. So in Dwaraka, all the members of the Yadu dynasty who were living there as Krishna's own relatives, they were all pure devotees of Krishna. They are all pure devotees of Krishna. So they appeared in different families, but all connected to Krishna in some way or the other. So that's described in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. So these different family members of Krishna, whichever way they were related to Krishna, they were all, one common characteristic is all of them are pure devotees and all of them always absorbed in the thought of Krishna. Always absorbed in the thought of Krishna. This is common characteristic of all pure devotees of Krishna. Now this is very, very difficult for us to understand that we have our understanding of a family in this material world. And in family there can be very nice, close relationships of love. And definitely a loving relationship means we tend to think of the beloved. Yes, we can be absorbed in the thought of them. But it is very difficult to think that one person is the beloved of everyone, and that one person is always the occupying the thought, the mind, the feelings, the existence itself, all the time thinking of that one person, even though engaged in so many other activities, in other relationships, in other types of dealings. Prabhupada says in the Krishna book, the Yadus, whether they were eating, sleeping, working, talking, bathing, doing anything, they're only thinking of Krishna. How is this possible? So this is possible only when there is love. And that also there is a perverted reflection of that in this world. And we all know that. Supposing a boy falls in love with a girl, the first time he meets a beautiful girl, and the boy gets attracted to that girl. And that's natural. It's not something that has to be imposed artificially. And the girl reciprocally gets attracted to the boy. Both of them get attracted to each other. After that, you know what happens. Wherever the boy goes, whatever the boy does, you'll always be thinking of the girl. And unfortunately, for the people who fall in love, it doesn't last. It doesn't last. So that is the nature of this material world. Everything here is temporary. Due to several reasons. Because everything changes. This is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Adhibhutam ksharo bhavaha. The nature of material existence is that everything is constantly changing. So even that attraction has to diminish. They say love at first sight. But what is the love at first sight? It is like the maximum when that particular contact happens. After that, it simply has to go on decreasing. And somehow, if somebody tries to maintain that attachment or that love or that connection, death is going to finish off it. And even after death, somebody has sweet memories they try to recollect. Then the person who survived that relationship, let's say husband and wife, after the wife passes away, before the husband, then the husband will still have nice memories, but the wife has left that body, gone to another body and completely forgotten the previous life. And same thing happens to the husband also. So in any case, the relationship, the attraction, the love, everything is temporary. It is short-lived. It has got a finite duration during which it can be experienced. Whereas in our relationship with Krishna, we are eternal, Krishna is eternal, our relationship is eternal, our love for each other is eternal, attraction is permanent. So therefore, it's not the same. Then what about all these other activities that the Yadus were doing? Prabhupada explains very nicely. How was it possible for them to do anything? We have experience, if we become mad after something, then we can't do other activities. But how are the Yadus doing everything? Other activities, whatever they had to do, while simultaneously thinking of Krishna. This is what Krishna tells Arjuna. The secret of always thinking of Krishna is the secret of guaranteeing that we will actually remember Krishna at the time of death, so that we transfer ourselves to Krishna's abode, personal abode, is that we have to always think of Krishna. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. And Krishna says, you always remember me, at the same time carry out your duty, which is your duty of whatever your duty is. In case Arjuna is fighting as a Kshatriya. So simultaneously to be able to do this, how is it possible? So for that, the Acharyas explain, you have to have a sense of love. Without love, it's not possible to always think of the beloved, at the same time carry out your duty. So, what is the technique of actually doing our activities properly, doing our duties properly? Because in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, Krishna says, do your prescribed duty. Do your prescribed duty. So to do prescribed duty, at the same time think of Krishna. Sometimes the prescribed duty appears like it has nothing to do with Krishna. So that's a mistake. To think that anything in existence has no connection with Krishna is the mistake. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna establishes He is the ultimate source of everything, and everything is connected with Him. There is nothing which is not connected with Krishna. So, how everything is connected with Krishna is technically explained in the Bhagavad Gita, but practically it is demonstrated or proven in the Bhagavatam. Now take this case of Vidura. Vidura is doing his duties, but whatever duty he is doing is always somehow connected with Krishna. He is on a pilgrimage. Of course, pilgrimage is in relationship with Krishna because he is visiting the places of Krishna's incarnations, Krishna's birth, Krishna's pastimes. So you can say pilgrimage has to be in connection with Krishna. But then this personal family relationship. Now Vidura has been traveling. He has not heard news about the other family members who were staying away. So he was in Hastinapura. Krishna was staying in Dwaraka. So there is a relationship, family relationship also. The Kurus and the Yadus, they are connected through some marriage that happened between different Kshatriya families like that. They get connected. They are from the same descendants, original descendants of Vaivasvata Manu. That is described in the 9th canto of the Bhagavatam. They are all descendants. So Krishna appeared in the Yadu dynasty. So he becomes connected to all the other members of the Yadu dynasty. Both the Yadus and the Kurus are descendants of one particular king in the past. The descendants of the same king in the past. So therefore they are also related, connected. So through this particular description in the Bhagavatam, it is established that all the particular people involved in this particular Krishna's appearance in the Yadu dynasty and Krishna's activities are all somehow connected to Krishna. That way you can also say they are somehow connected to the ancestor of Krishna, right? The common king from whom the Yadus descend, from whom the Kurus descend, from whom all the different dynasties, 101 clans were there when Krishna was ruling in Dwaraka. Were all connected as Yadus. So all of them are connected to that original person. If it's a Yadu dynasty, they are all connected to Yadu. So why don't they think of Yadu, all of them? Because they are all ultimately related to Yadu. They are called Yadavas. But why are they particularly thinking of Krishna. So for that, the Bhagavatam explains, they have appeared as Krishna is the son of Vasudeva and somebody is the son of Dhritarashtra, somebody else the son of Pandu, okay. But what is their original position? This birth, they have taken birth as this. But what is originally, who are they? So that original identity is also described in the Bhagavatam. So Aniruddha is one of the sons of Krishna. But he appeared as the son of Krishna. As much as Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva. But originally who is Krishna? The original personality of Godhead in the spiritual world, in the eternal world. So that's his eternal identity. But he appears as the son of Vasudeva in the Yadu dynasty. And he becomes related to so many people. Aniruddha originally is the personality of Godhead who is a plenary expansion of Krishna. Plenary expansion means Krishna as the Supreme Lord, he has got many expansions. He is not a limited person. He is the unlimited person. So unlimited person means unlimited forms in which he is present. The same person. Just like we are all different persons with different forms. But Krishna, Balaram, Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, in the material world, when the incarnation is there, they appear like different persons. Krishna appeared as son of Vasudeva in a different point in time. Rama appeared as son of Dasharatha at a different point in time. Narsimha appeared in his own form, half man, half lion, not having any relationship or connection with anybody like that in the material world. There is no such creature even, half man, half lion. There is no such creature which exists in this material world. So the Lord appeared in that form, in that unique form. For the sake of his Leela, he appeared like that. He's got his own reasons. Anyway, that's also explained in the Bhagavatam. But he came for a specific purpose to protect his devotee Prahlad. And to kill that deliver Hiranyakashipu, who was giving too much trouble to Prahlad. So what is the identity of this Narsimha? Prahlad, you can say, okay, he is a devotee, he's a pure devotee. Originally he is a devotee, but he is appearing as the son of Hiranyakashipu. Okay. But Narsimha, who is this Narsimha? You can't establish any relationship of Narsimha with any person of this world. So Narsimha just came out of pillar. Now in the pillar, where can there be a form or a person like that? It's difficult to accept, no? From the pillar, suddenly, when Hiranyakashipu is striking his fist, suddenly the pillar is smashed and it breaks open and this gigantic form of Narsimha comes out. So these rational people, so-called rational people, rational thinking people, they'll say this is all story, simply some story that is created, mythology. Now, when we study the Srimad Bhagavatam, who is Krishna? Who is God? What is his specific identity? What are his powers? It's like we may not accept with our limited experience and exposure when we are small that there can be some person who's very, very, very strong, very beautiful, or very intelligent, child prodigy. Now, unless somebody understands that its truth or reality based on so many other reasons or explanations. It's hard to accept. The child is born, just 3 years old, it starts playing some musical instrument like an expert. So it's hard to believe. But then somehow we get convinced by actually seeing or getting an authentic report or something. So same way, it is hard to believe that there can be a person like God, Krishna, who can have any form that he desires and is present in that form in the spiritual world and is an unlimited person. That's a definition of God: unlimited personality, unlimited power, unlimited strength, unlimited everything, all good things, all good. So we get convinced about it, and we actually read factual descriptions of God when he appears here. And more importantly, the factual description of God in his personal abode, where he is eternally present. So we get convinced about this by hearing from the proper source. It's an authentic source. The authentic source of the scriptures, the pure devotee acharyas, the previous acharyas, present acharya, like that. So we hear from the proper source, we get convinced, and then we understand our business in the human form of life is simply to know about Krishna, know about ourselves, and know about the relationship we have with him, and re-establish that lost relationship, revive that lost relationship through bhakti. And one of the important things the Bhagavatam teaches us is how to integrate this Krishna conscious practices into our ordinary life, in our daily routine, to discover the personality Krishna, how he is connected with everything. And that is where the 10th chapter is very, very important chapter. 10th chapter, Krishna describes his opulences in this material world. This material world, what are his opulences? You study that chapter carefully. What way will that chapter, studying the chapter, help you? Everything you see is actually the opulence of Krishna. Everything that you see. We see so many things, and that which captures our attention, captivates us, is something which is beautiful, something which is wonderful, something which is splendorous, something which is very nice, a thing or person, even a person. So, all that is actually a small spark, a small fragment of Krishna's original beauty, Krishna's original splendors, Krishna's original strength, Krishna's original. That is what is distributed in this whole creation. It is Krishna's own beauty. So that way we understand, of course, we have to understand the way it is explained in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna himself, and also further detailed explanation given by the Acharya Srila Prabhupada. And then we should also learn to see that way this entire world. Relate that way. That requires you, not only you study, not only you contemplate, but you also act in that way. Try to connect and act in that way. Just like Now, when family members meet who have been living in different cities, then they will naturally inquire about other family members. Now here, the way he is inquiring, Vidura, okay, he is inquiring about family members because there is natural affection between family members. But he is inquiring everybody in relationship with Krishna. Of course, he is fortunate because they are anyway related to Krishna. But we should also learn how to make inquiries in relationship with Krishna. That you can see practically in the life of Prabhupada. Prabhupada, whatever conversations he had with even the press reporters, or of course with his disciples, with anybody, the subject matter will be Krishna. No matter what question they ask. Just like Prabhupada was traveling in the car, just one example and I'll close. One big billboard in America, those days at least, in the 70s when Prabhupada went to America. It was not so common in India to have big hoardings and big billboards, very attractive, very imposing. So Prabhupada noticed that too many billboards and very attractive, especially in New York. So there was one advertisement about some Continental tires. Even now it's there, I think, in India also. It's a multinational company. So it was written in big bold letters, Continental, and tire and some picture or whatever. So Prabhupada saw out of the window, he saw this huge Continental tire advertisement. So Prabhupada, the servant was sitting next to him in the car. So he said, what is that? Chintamani? So the devotee told Prabhupada it is an advertisement about Continental tires, not Chintamani. Actually, Prabhupada could have read that. It is so big and so clear. Continental. Prabhupada couldn't have misread that as Chintamani. Why did Prabhupada purposely misread that? So immediately when the devotee said it is Continental, not Chintamani, Prabhupada said, do you know what is Chintamani? Devotee said, no. It means the spiritual world. And Prabhupada began explaining what is the spiritual world. Another example, last example. Prabhupada was traveling in the flight and a flight attendant, a lady, very nicely she was serving Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada said, I don't want some food. Can I get you something? Can I get you something? So then Prabhupada said, yes, you can get some fruits. So he brought the fruits. Very nicely she brought the fruits and kept it. Then Prabhupada started a conversation with her by first appreciating how nicely she has made her hair, arranged her hair and done a nice hairdo. And then she was immediately attracted to Prabhupada. She later on became a devotee. See how Prabhupada started that conversation not by telling, do you know who is Krishna? You should chant Hare Krishna. No. He attracted the attention by appreciating something about the person. This is what they say even in professional circles, that if you want to establish a relationship, it's important to communicate nicely. But more important than, not only communicate nicely with the other person with whom you want to establish, you should also connect. And that connect is actually established by appreciating something which is genuinely good or wonderful or nice about that person. not false flattering. So in this regard, as far as Vaishnava relationships are concerned, we always say don't find fault with others, but try to see the good in others. So trying to see the good in others is very, very, very beneficial for us, that we are able to connect. And the moment the connect is established, the person becomes immediately attracted to you, immediately becomes captivated, immediately becomes interested in having a conversation, in talking, in establishing the relationship, in furthering the relationship. So this is a tip for preaching for all of us. And also a tip for all those people who have to associate with others who may not be interested in Krishna consciousness. Just like one member of the family becomes interested in Krishna consciousness, takes up to Krishna consciousness. Other family members are somehow not interested or may not be so much keen about coming to the temple or chanting or whatever. But then in the normal conversations, introducing Krishna, by connecting whatever you're talking with Krishna. Now even in connecting, by introducing Krishna, not Jabardasti introduce Krishna. As I said, Prabhupada, always he would connect with the subject that is on hand. So if you read Prabhupada's conversations, Prabhupada's interviews, whatever this question may be, Prabhupada will bring it to relate with Krishna, because everything is connected with Krishna. Nothing is independent of Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. I'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.